talking about CKP internal subgrant opportunities. I've had the pleasure of meeting most of you, but I'm Laura Belazis from the Campus Kitchens Project, and I am responsible for coordinating all of our internal subgrants. So let us dive right in. If my slides will advance, there we go. So the first thing that's really important to know when applying for subgrants is how do you apply and where do you find the applications. So all you have to do is go to the Campus Kitchen Pantry. And once you're at the pantry, if you go to this section, Financials and Reporting, and look for Grant Opportunities, click on that. Go to CKP Grants, and here you'll find all of our CKP grant opportunities. For each one, you'll see an RFP. So there's the Ameriprise RFP, the CoBank RFP, and the General Mills RFP. For two of those, you'll also see an application, Ameriprise and CoBank. We don't actually have an application for the General Mills one, so don't be concerned about that. It's pretty simple and has instructions in the RFP. But for all of these, I definitely recommend reading the RFP before you complete the application. It has a lot of useful information about the expectations, what we're looking for in your applications, and then also what your grant requirements will be throughout the year. And as you read through those, if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer any questions along the way. So let's jump back in and talk about what all of these subgrant opportunities are. So we at the Campus Kitchens Project try to have at least 3 grant opportunities every year for Campus Kitchens. So this year, they will be the Ameriprise Summer Outreach, and that one is all about programs in the summer. That's traditionally a really difficult time for Campus Kitchens. Only about 2/3 of Campus Kitchens are able to continue operating throughout the year. And even the ones that do continue to operate in the summer sometimes have lower operations, they serve fewer meals, they serve fewer client agencies just because they have a smaller volunteer base. Or they may continue their operations but are really running on a shoestring staff. And that puts a lot of burden on just a couple people. So this grant is aimed at really helping you to build your capacity in the summer. So it's a $1,000 grant. It's aimed at letting you hire a summer fellow. The idea is not that that person is responsible for everything in the summer, but that they can help recruit community volunteers who are really going to help you to continue your program through the summer by staffing up. The other expectation of this grant is nutrition education. So we're hoping that not only will you be able to continue providing meals during the summer, but you're also going to be doing nutrition ed. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So the second grant opportunity that we have is CoBank. So the CoBank is a rural hunger grant. So it's aimed at helping you to do outreach if you're in a rural site or a rural community, and then to share those best practices throughout the CKP network. The funding for that one is aimed at allowing you to hire a fellow who will support your campus kitchen. It can also be for operation and programming expenses. That could be anything from buying supplies to build a community garden to paying for transportation to materials for nutrition education to packaging or like say a vacuum sealer for your campus kitchen. There are a lot of things that can go into that. And then there's also some funding for travel to our Food Waste and Hunger Summit in April. I hope all of you guys are going to attend. This year is going to be at the University of Arkansas, April 15th through 17th, and we're really excited about that. We're already starting to plan, and it's going to be a really, really great summit this coming year. And then, of course, we have boot camp every year in August in DC. Now, the last grant opportunity that we have, the General Mills Expansion Ambassadors Grant, is brand new this year. And this one is a little bit different. It's really aimed at helping us to take the great work that all of you are doing in campus kitchens across the country and spreading that to even more campuses, because you are the best ambassadors of the program. I know when you meet other people at the summit and in your communities, there's so much excitement about the great things that you're doing. And a lot of your friends on other campuses see what you're doing on social media and are excited to start campus kitchens as well. And we'd love to continue that trend. So this grant is aimed at allowing, it can be staff, but mostly for students to attend professional conferences, to attend student leadership conferences, and have the opportunity to talk about your campus kitchen and then about the Campus Kitchens Project nationally. And we're hoping that through that we'll have even more campus kitchens popping up all across the country. So that grant is up to $1,000, and it covers conference travel expenses. That could be your hotel, it could be your flight, it could be registration for the campus for the conference. Now the deadlines for these, two of them, Ameriprise and CoBank, are due the first week of December on December 4th. However, the General Mills Expansion Grant is on a rolling basis. So with that one, I think there was a little bit of confusion. We asked for letters of intent by November 1st. That was definitely not an application deadline. We were just trying to get an initial sense of who's interested in this grant and who might want to apply for it. But that is accepted on a rolling basis. You can apply anytime. And basically, if you're thinking about it, just shoot us an email and tell us what you're thinking. For the grant periods, the first two, Ameriprise and CoBank, are both for the calendar year coming up. So they start January 1st and they go through the end of December. The General Mills one is a little bit different. We have that funding on this fiscal year, so it actually ends at the end of June. So if you're interested in that one, the conferences that you might attend have to be between now and the end of June of next year. And I'm sorry, there's a typo there. It says through June 2015. That should be through June 2016. Any questions so far? And I'll talk a little bit more about the specifics of these grants. Notice a couple more people have joined us. I saw Karen joined us. Deb's there, Jenny's there, Kendra's there, Sam's there. Has anyone else joined us on the phone? Then we will continue on. Let's talk a little bit more about what the subgrants would involve. For Ameriprise, again, this is focused on recruiting community volunteers, whether they are church groups, whether they're corporate groups who need volunteer hours, and really thinking beyond your student base. For in the summer months when far fewer students are on campus, this can really be an asset both for the summer of your grant year, but then also for establishing relationships that are going to continue in the years to come. This is a really great opportunity to keep up that service for your school year partners. That's something we see a lot of times if a campus kitchen is not able to sustain their operations in the summer. When they come back in the fall, those food resourcing relationships often fall apart. Some of those donors really want you to be there regularly week after week, and if you disappear for a couple months, that can be a difficult thing to maintain a relationship over. So we've had a lot of campus kitchens who have participated in this program have really great success and have really reported increased satisfaction from their clients, so they're able to keep delivering those meals regularly throughout the summer. It's also a great opportunity if you'd like to expand over the summer and start seeing new agencies. Maybe you've already been operating during the summer, but you'd really like to do more, especially when you have new client populations you can work with. There are a lot more student groups around in the summer who might normally be getting free and reduced price lunches during the school year, but don't always have a meal site for the summer. And again, this is an opportunity to do nutrition education. We have several curricula from CKP. There's the Sowing Seeds for Healthy Kids garden education program, our Building Blocks for Healthy Kids nutrition ed program, and then we have a brand new curriculum that should be going up on the pantry in the next few weeks, which is Healthy Living Made Easy. So the first two are aimed at younger kids, and the last curriculum is for seniors. So there are all sorts of nutrition ed programs that you can do. For CoBank, these are opportunities to serve more meals or new partner agencies in your communities. We're really broad in the definition of rural. We don't set a definition for it, and we let you think about your community. And it could be that you already live in a very rural area. It could be that you live in a smaller town or in a city, but in the surrounding region there are rural populations who you serve. Both of those are acceptable. But if you have any questions about whether you'd be classified as rural or whether any of your clients are rural, definitely talk to us. With this grant, what we're really trying to do is both grow your programs, but then also present really innovative, really interesting programs to other campus kitchens so that we can take what you've done and really show that off as a model. We don't want anybody having to reinvent the wheel every year. We want to have kind of a list of really great programs that we can point to. This can be anything from setting up on-campus farmers markets to building mobile markets, or CSA programs, working with food hubs, building community gardens, doing nutrition education, and a whole lot more. So this is a great opportunity for you to show off what you do at your campus kitchen and have that model be replicated at lots of other campus kitchens. With General Mills, the idea is that you would attend a conference, you would present a workshop, and you would speak to the impact of your campus kitchen. And then also talk about CKP generally, so you would inspire other students and other schools to bring campus kitchens to their school. All right, so the main requirements with both Ameriprise and CoBank, we ask that you come to the Food Waste and Hunger Summit and Boot Camp. We hope that you'll all come anyway, but especially our grantees, we ask that you come. You're all familiar with your monthly reports in Apricot. If you're in a grant program, you'll suddenly have a new section pop up if you're part of a grant, and then I'll have a few extra questions for you to answer based on which grant program you're in. If you're in the CoBank program, you'll have a few extra questions about how many rural clients you served. If you're in the Ameriprise program, we'll ask you more about your community volunteers and the status of hiring your fellows. For General Mills, the requirements are pretty straightforward. There aren't any other monthly reporting requirements. It's just a final report after you come back from your conference. And then we also collaborate in the time leading up to your presentation on the proposal itself and on the presentation. Ameriprise and CoBank are a little bit more involved through the year. For Ameriprise, we have a mid-year progress report in May and a final narrative report in September. Even though the grant period is for the whole year, we have those kind of bumped up a little bit in our timeline. That's when we report back to Ameriprise when we submit for new funding for the following year. For CoBank, we ask you to submit quarterly progress reports about how everything is going throughout the year. In the fall, we'll collaborate with you on your best practice toolkit, so we can take that really innovative, interesting thing that you developed on your campus and put that together into a format that other campus kitchens can learn from. And for those of you who are in the CoBank subgrant program this year, the reporting requirements will be a little bit different this coming year. We had you present your toolkits earlier in the year this year. Next year, they'll all be due towards the end of the year, so they won't be due quite so early. And then for that grant, you also have a final narrative report, and that'll be due in December. For those of you who are in current grant programs, that same report is coming up in just a few weeks. Any questions about grants or reporting so far? All right, so now the more exciting part, we're going to hear from some of our current grantees about their subgrant programs. Let's start with Jenny Davidson. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your programs at the Campus Kitchen at Washington and Lee?
Sure. So our biggest program that's come out of the CoBank subgrant is our mobile food pantry. We are in an area that's rural anyway. Our county is 600 square miles, and there are issues that have been brought up by community partners around accessing brick and mortar pantries. They're located in Lexington, which is also where Washington and Lee is located, but you can drive a half hour in pretty much any direction and still be in our county. And if you don't have a reliable car, there's not really good public transportation. Getting to the pantry can be a real barrier. And so we partner with the public library in one location and actually found someone who owned a parking lot in a different location and go once a month. We don't have any kind of restrictions for who serves. Folks self-identify as needing food, but we do get from them their name, their phone number, so that we can call to remind them when the pantry is happening, and then kind of the age breakdown of their household, so we know how many kids we're serving and how many seniors. And so the Goshen Pantry started early in 2015, and then we expanded to Buena Vista in April, and we are looking forward to, we've been making plans to be able to expand to another couple of locations, so I'm still interested in this funding opportunity. I'm happy to answer any specific questions as well.
Thank you, Jenny. Does anyone have any questions about their CoBank grant or their mobile market? We'll talk a little bit more after this about the book of best practices and the CoBank toolkit that we're creating, so you can learn a lot more about the program at Washington and Lee. Well, if there aren't any questions, then Karen, are you on the line?
Yes.
Would you tell us a little bit more about your CoBank grant at Mankato?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Are you hearing an echo?
A little bit, but I can still hear you.
Okay, great. So our grant was essentially set up so that we could, I'm sorry, the echo bothers me, I'll do what I can here. The grant was essentially set up so that we could create community gardens at a couple of places. One was to have a garden right outside of our campus kitchen location so that we would be able to grow fresh vegetables to augment the meals that we were all sending out, but also to have some container gardens. The lower container garden photos there on the screen are Maura and Deb, who are the partners. Maura is our Hunger Fellow, and Deb is a partner at Partners for Affordable Housing. The idea is that by having a garden down at Partners for Affordable Housing, welcome in and Teresa in, we would be able to grow vegetables with the people who are living in the homeless shelter, and we would use those vegetables as a part of the Cooking Matters class that was put on by the SNAP education program through the University of Minnesota. We did several different things within that. We certainly surveyed our participants, as well as a program that we worked with over the summer called Cops and Bobbers, as well as working with the Cooking Matters class. Cooking Matters class participants were primarily from the Teresa Housing and Welcome In. And actually, the summer program did not happen, so we're having the class right now, and I'm teaching it as a culinary instructor, and it's been a really good experience. Really enjoyed working with them. The Cops and Bobbers program is a program where children from the Mankato area go fishing with police officers, and through that process, the children, if they fish for nine weeks straight, every Wednesday morning, they'll get to keep their fishing pole. And we would provide the lunches for that, and through that we'd provide surveys and games, and we just had a really good time with education with them. And the third part there was we also had increased our partnerships with Loaves and Fishes, which is a food pantry in Mapleton. Now, to give perspective, Mankato is only 55,000 people, but Mapleton is 20 miles south of us and has maybe 1,500 people at the most. And so in building that partnership, we're strengthening that and we're continuing it. We wanted to try and keep it at least over the summer, but now that we've really continued working with them, we're going to keep them on. And so we're really working well with them. We've been very grateful to attend the Food Waste Summit, as well as to participate in the CoBank one-pager with presentation for Walton, Franken, and Peterson up in DC. So it's been a good all around for us.
Great, thank you, Karen. Yeah, that was actually a really fun extra opportunity for our CoBank subgrantees this year at boot camp. Our friends at CoBank arranged for personal visits to Capitol Hill to meet their legislators. And I think we had 7 campus kitchens participate in that, all of our CoBank grantees. And really, I think everybody got a lot out of that, and we even had a couple of legislators or their offices go back and visit campus kitchens as a result, which is really great to draw national attention to the work that you're all doing. And then next, if there are no questions for Karen, I'm going to ask our friends at Northwestern to talk a little bit about nutrition education and incorporating that into your summer.
Hi. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. So we do a couple different nutrition ed programs. This past summer, we were actually able to do Sowing Seeds for Healthy Kids and Building Blocks, which was really cool. One of the things we did over the summer that I really enjoyed is we turned it into a breakfast program instead of an after-school sort of situation. It was kind of nice to be able to go in there in the mornings, and we realized for pretty much the same amount that we were spending on doing like after-school snacks, we could do almost a whole breakfast. So that was cool for us, and I think the kids seemed to really like it. We were able to do a lot more like outdoor activities over the summer, obviously because we're here in Evanston and the winters get kind of rough and it's hard to do anything outside. We yeah, we worked with 2 different programs over this summer. One of the ones is actually part of our summer meals program as well. So we were able to come and do the program in the morning and also drop off the lunches that we would be giving out for that day anyway. So that was kind of a nice treat. And then we partnered with a new organization where we had 12 of their students who were coming in earlier in the day than everybody else, and we were able to meet with them and do breakfast. And with them, we actually did both programs at the same time. So we were there 2 days a week. Tuesdays we were doing building blocks, and then Thursdays we were doing sowing seeds. So it was really cool to see how those 2 programs kind of came together. They were also fortunate enough to have a beautiful garden that we got to spend some time in, and got to do some planting in the classroom that they got to take home with them, which was really fun.
Great, thank you, Sam. Does anybody have any questions from any of our former grantees? All right, so I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what we're doing with all of your best practices that you submit when you're part of one of these subgrant programs. This is a little preview from last year's AERP program, Gettysburg's program, where they produced CSA bags for homegrown seniors. So we're putting these together into best practice books that we can share with all of you so you can learn about each other's programs. And then we're also going to be sharing these with a wider national audience so that your programs can get a lot of attention from policymakers, from people in your community. So these are great for us to share, but then also for you to share. And they're also a really great tool for talking to your university administrators and getting them really excited about supporting your programs on campus. And this is a little preview of what the CoBank book might look like. I'm in the process of designing it now, so this is by no means final, but it's a little bit more about Jenny Davidson's Mobile Food Pantry program. And so both of these books will be coming out in the coming weeks. So how do you decide what to apply for? Think about, where are you? Are you in a rural area? If not, are you serving rural populations nearby? How were your summer operations last year? Were they really robust, or could they use a little extra help? Do you have exciting best practices at your campus kitchen that you think would be great to share on other campuses? Do you already have plans to attend academic conferences? And this reminds me, I actually meant to ask Matt to jump in when we were talking about other grantees. Matt, why don't you take this point here and talk a little bit about attending conferences?
Yep, no problem. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, my role in the national office is revolved around expansion, so working with schools that want to bring the program to their school. And a lot of my work is attending conferences and speaking at conferences so we can really be able to talk to a really large group of folks all at once instead of going kind of one by one. So we, like Laura said, we're realizing here that you guys, our current network, are really some of the best ambassadors for when I can't be at every conference, and so it's really great. And something they probably don't want me to be at every conference, and you guys have really awesome stories to share about what you currently are doing, and also can really resonate with, hopefully, with some of the students and staff that at certain conferences that might be thinking about bringing this program to their school. So like Laura was just saying, this grant is meant for, can be kind of used in a variety of capacities. It can be if you're already planning on attending a conference, so maybe your school or your sponsoring office, or even you as a student, are already a part of an association or a larger group, or maybe just going to a certain conference on the issue area or issue topics of hunger or poverty or social justice, and you're already planning on going to that conference and presenting on your program as a best practice. We can, like Laura said, help provide some of that funding, but also give you some guidance on how to bring, not only talking specifically about your program, but then bring it into the broader picture of talking about campus kitchens more largely, and how to bring that program to a campus. So, we've had folks, so there could be that's already happening, or maybe after you hear about this, you kind of start to look into what are some opportunities or conferences that I might be able to attend to be able to talk about my program and the larger network. So we have had folks in the past that maybe, they're maybe part of the Bonner Foundation. Their school's a Bonner school, so they have attended a Bonner conference on our behalf and talked, specifically about their program, but then also, again, about how to bring that program to any campus. Or maybe your sponsoring office with Student Affairs is part of NASPA, which is the Student Affairs Administrators Association. Maybe they're already going to go to NASPA to talk about, a variety of things that are maybe tangentially tied to campus kitchens, but we can bring that even closer to what we do and highlight us even a little more by working with them and allow them and fund them to actually go there. So there's a lot of different options here that I think are worth exploring. And it's a great, also just student leadership development piece or tool for any student that wants to get experience, speaking at a conference. I think that's a really great skill to have, to go through the proposal process and actually going through and presenting. So there's tons of different conferences out there, both regionally and nationally, that we would love to have more representation, so especially on the regional basis. So maybe there's a Campus Compact statewide or regional conference that is there just in your region or just in your state that you'd be able to attend, and there'd be other schools present. And that's, we're looking for an audience base of other college students or high school students or other staff from other universities or colleges that'll be present. So it really is pretty broad, and again, this, like Laura said, this is a brand new grant opportunity. So if you guys are thinking, if you just have some general ideas or think want to see if what you guys already do would apply or count, let us know, and we can definitely work with you to see if that would make sense, because I think, again, we really appreciate and see the value of having you all be kind of the voice all across the country of spreading this movement even more. So we really want as many of you all to take advantage of this grant opportunity as possible. That's my
Thank
piece.
you, Matt. So for any of these programs, if you're thinking about attending a conference, just, let us know. That's on a rolling basis. For CoBank and for Ameriprise, think about if you would be developing a brand new program or if you'd be expanding an existing one. Both of those are options for those grants. And if you have any questions as you're thinking about this, talk to your program manager, let them know that you're planning on applying, and give us a shout with any questions that you have as you're thinking through your applications, and we're always happy to help out and make them stronger. So we always encourage you to do an asset-based community development assessment and really use facts and numbers. If you haven't ever done an ABCD assessment, if you go to the pantry, to the programming overview section, there's a workshop there which is great for leadership teams to do. Then think about, identifying your emerging best practices. That would be great for other campus kitchens. Be really detailed in your strategy. How are you going to use the funds from the grant? Make sure what you're thinking about is realistic. Do you have goals, and are they achievable? And then think about how you're going to evaluate your program. So you're not just doing it, you're really thinking about whether it was successful, and you're really able to demonstrate that you did something in your community that you can be really proud of. And then the last thing is to, really focus on your strengths and think about how you can grow sustainably. You don't want to create a program this year and have it to just fall apart next year. You want to think about how you can get community buy-in, how you can continue funding sources, how you can get donations that will keep this program running in future years. And I think that is all I've got. Does anyone have any questions, either about the programs generally or for their specific campus kitchen?
I have a question.
Please, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I have a question specific to who can be selected, if it's a problem or if there are any issues for like a student leader to be paid for the position of, say, coordinator. Do they have to be a U.S. student, or can they be international?
That is up to you. You are allowed to allocate the funds for your grant. We will just give you the funds in a lump sum. For the CoBank grants, that's 2/3 of it at the beginning of the year. Sorry, yes, 3,000 at the beginning of the year and 2,000 at the end of the year. And how your campus kitchen allocates it is up to you and what the restrictions are at your campus.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Great. Well, if you think of other questions as you're applying for the subgrants, definitely feel free to shoot me an email or email Matt, especially about attending conferences. And you can also always talk to your program managers. Is anybody on the call thinking about applying for a subgrant?
Yes.
Yes.
And what are you guys planning on applying for?
We'd like to, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
We'd like to apply for CoBank again to expand our
Great. Thanks, Jenny. And Karen, was that you too?
Thinking of Ameriprise, perhaps.
Great.
For working over a summer. So.
And we have a couple others on the call. Are you still in the kind of introductory thinking about it phase, or do you have any plans to apply? All right. Well, we are looking forward to answering any questions in the coming weeks and to seeing all of your applications for Ameriprise and CoBank the first week of December, and on a rolling basis, the General Mills expansion grants. Thanks everybody for taking the time today, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving if we don't talk to you before then. Have a great day, everybody.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.